What's that? What's that? What's that? Just make sure it's looking good here. Roll it on in. Got a couple packages I'm going to open up as soon as I get everything squared away here. Oh yeah, I think we're good to go. Real quick, over on my Discord, I did just post some stuff that I got up for grabs. If you're interested, go ahead, grab it. I can get it shipped out to you. You're probably going to have it before Christmas, but got some pretty good stuff over there. And, if you want to get a few, I'm probably going to hook it up for you. That's just kind of how I like to do it. But nonetheless, not too worried about too many people getting in here because I'm just going to edit this thing after the fact. But subscribe to the channel. Make sure you're over in my Discord that I just showed you guys that way you can be on your way to saving some money, saving that hard-earned guwap, especially in this season. If you tuned into the live stream yesterday, then we watched a video pretty much talking about how they do like these back-to-back holidays just as a scam pretty much. So yeah, first one came in a package like this, so I know that it's probably going to be from DHgate because I've found that if you don't get a box with it, then it's usually a whole hell of a lot cheaper. So let's cut this bad boy up. Oh, yeah. And it's going to be some Sally Bimbury Crocs. These things were pretty popular there a summer or so ago, but still see people rocking and wearing them. And the people that did get them seem to really enjoy them. Got some texture down there to say Croc right there. Oh yeah, there it is. So pretty cool there. These I think have, yeah, so on the toe there, they have like a plastic protector piece, so that's gonna be nice to have. Clifford, what's up, man? How you doing? Thanks for tuning into the live chat. If you're working today, maybe you just got off. Hopefully you had a good day, man. Always appreciate people joining the live chat. Yeah, these things are sick. So one thing I found out too is that these things usually come like really big. So I ordered an 11 the first time and these were like I think like 35 bucks. Oh, dude, Dennis, that sucks. But got to get it done. So this time around instead of ordering the 11, I ordered the 10 and yeah, this fits just like perfect. Yeah. So that is something for everybody. Just a little bit of knowledge from trial and error, save you money on that first go around. But I mean, nowadays, it seems like a lot of people have like size 12, size 13 feet. It's just like a thing. But yeah, really big fan of these. One thing too is that if you do order them and like you're kind of in between sizes, like in between a 9 and a 10, in between a 10 and 11, then you can just toss these bad boys in like the dishwasher and the hot water is gonna like just kind of like shrink the plastic a little bit and then they will fit a little bit better. So yeah, that is something that I did learn about these. No box. These do have a box if you wanted to pay full price and buy them from the store, but I really don't recommend you do that. Like I said, I think those were around $35, $40, free shipping. And since I got them without the box, I got them in like, I think like 10 days, 11 days. So that is pretty quick. But the main thing is around the holiday times is that shipping slows like way down. So that is one thing to remember. That's why I always try to tell people get your orders in before Thanksgiving if you want stuff before Christmas. And sometimes even that can be cutting it like a little bit close. All right. And then last one of the day, got us a little FedEx box. Not too sure what's going to be in this one. I kind of like doing this live streaming style. I don't know. It's just like, it's not easier, but like setting up the other camera and then like setting up the table and moving the lights around when like, if you can just keep everything in like a fixed position, I don't know. It's just it's a lot nicer. Plus, like, the Google ad payment has, like, gone way downhill. So, yeah, effort is at an all-time low. All right. Get this box open here. All right. Does feel like a pair of shoes for sure. Just trying to remember which ones. I do have some other stuff on the way. Lots of videos out with stuff that I've already got. If you want all the information, make sure you join the Discord. That's all I ask you do. Oh, the Discord is not like outpacing the YouTube channel almost. Off the rip. White and brown Nike box. Are these Travis Scott's? Oh, there it is. Nice bubble wrap all the way around here. This box is going to be perfect. This one's a size 10. Oh, yeah. Voila. Let's check these bad boys out. The pink tissue paper. Oh, okay. So these are the new Travis. The brown ones. What's the color on these? Dark mocha black velvet. Nice. So let's get both of them out because these shoes usually do have yeah, the velvets, dude. Crazy. Get the Travis Scott. So we got the smiley face on this one. And this is like a super rough texture, like 70s shag rug, like thick. She thick, boy. And then I guess that does have a little bit of purple on there. Let me get my phone and see. Let's get the extra light in here. Nah, that's brown, dog. So where's that velvet at, you know? Where's the velvet? Got the Cactus Jack logo right there, so that's sick. So pretty much your classic silhouette that they've used in the same pretty much mold, but they've just switched up the materials this time. And I mean, it does have like a shade of red. I don't know if like the camera, I might just be tripping. I don't know, but it's brown, but there is like an undertone tint to it. This one's gonna have the Jordan logo. Yep, perfect. Looks sick. Reverse swoosh, like all the Travises have. Nice leather, and then you can really see that texture in the light. It's got a lot of texture on there. But these are going to fit just like your normal Jordan 1s would. I did get these from SN Kick. If you watch my stuff, you probably know that name. Did come with 2 changes of laces here, so let's check those out real quick. You get a glossy brown pair that comes like stocked. And then in the other one, what do you get here? Velvet's the texture. Oh yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right. Okay, and then you get a change of pink laces as well. Looking like the bubble gum roll up right there. So very cool. I don't know what it is with him in pink, but the tissue paper has always been pink for some reason. You'd think he would have a pink shoe, but he doesn't. Oh yeah. So 2 bangers right there. Got the new mocha velvet Travis scooters and the Hehe Bimberry Crocs. Let's throw the trash away. Like I said earlier, I did just post some good stuff down on the Discord. If you're in the market for some sneakers, I can get them to you before Christmas time as long as you order them between probably today and tomorrow. I'm not sure how many people are going to get to view this video before then, but I'm going to do my best to have it uploaded right after this. So yeah, can't really complain. It's been a pretty good day. Cliff is going to get his pair as well, so it sounds like these are hot on the board. Cliff, I saw you posted the yellow ones too. Those ones are fire. But I think I'm going to turn this into some education now. Gonna go. I had some really good recommends on my YouTubes, so I'm going to pull those videos up and get them ready to go here. Yeah, canaries. That's what they're called. Yellow Travis canaries. All right, let's go to my history because I started watching some of them. So one of them was about Mark Cuban, and this one, being obese is the new meta. That sounded like a good one. And then there was one other one. I feel like what's going on with the drones, man? What are the drones doing? Donnie did come out and say today
if we are forecasting
that they know what's going on and it's like
Video
under
networks
control. But
and
like, you know, what does that really mean in the terms of things? So, all right, let's get this squared away. If you're just tuning in, make sure you flip back, check out the sneakers I just opened. And then I need to change the title of this bad boy to Tuesday. Educational entertainment. Hehe, ha ha, ho ho ho. Perfect. All right, let's get on with it. Yeah, dude, usually like December time, the ad revenue on YouTube is popping, but for whatever reason, it's not. If you are just tuning in, I did just post some stuff over to the Discord. So if you need to get your little brother some kicks, you need to get your big brother some kicks, your dad, your mom, your sister, let me know. I can probably hook it up and get them to you before Christmas time. But so I'm in Oklahoma. Usually we get a lot of ice, but not a whole lot of snow. So I did see this in my recommended. It came out 4 days ago and it's got 1 million views already. So this Max dude is just straight popping off, but it's pretty much saying that we're going to be getting a whole lot of snow this year. So let's tune in and see what Mr. Max has to say.
to last year. If you didn't know, our weather pattern is changing. We are going from an El Nino winter to a La Nina winter, which means big changes are coming to the United States. The biggest controlling factor with any winter is going to be our Enzo weather pattern, which is either El Nino or La Nina. You see, last winter we had an El Nino weather pattern, which promoted much warmer and drier conditions across
El Nino.
the northern tier of the United States, but on the flip side of things, we had a Pacific jet stream which amplified storms across the southern tier of the United States, anywhere from California all the way back over into Texas and as well as Florida, where above average rainfall and below average temperatures were observed. But this winter is going to be completely different because we are shifting from El Nino to La Nina, which might not sound like a big difference, but it changes the complexion of the winter weather for
Sounds catastrophic. He said it changes the complexion. Goodness gracious.
everybody in the United States. You see, the temperature trend across much of the northern tier of the United States will actually end up being below average for temperatures, leading to many more Arctic blasts and also the potential for very frigid weather, especially in January and February. On the other hand, much more moist weather is expected, especially...
I don't know, dude. I'm looking warm and I'm looking dry where I'm at. I don't know.
In January and
May not be
February.
that bad after.
On the other hand, much more moist weather
He said, "Pack it up, we're good."
is expected in the Pacific Northwest due to atmospheric rivers, or otherwise known as the Pineapple Express, that will lead to several inches
Now he's just making stuff up.
of rainfall and the potential for flooding across the Pacific.
An atmospheric river. Yeah, I don't know. We didn't have like meteorology in high school. I think we learned about clouds in like 5th grade.
Pacific Northwest throughout the months of December, January, and even sometimes into February. As we go further to the south and east, drier and warmer than normal conditions are expected from California all the way through the southeast. However, that does not mean you will not see snow or rain, because during
So what? Then it's not going to be dry.
And La Nina weather pattern, we've actually seen snow as far south as even Texas, and in some cases Florida, even though it is a very big rarity. On the other hand, the Ohio Valley and the Northeast are completely different stories in a La Nina winter. Usually we are talking about above average precipitation and below average temperatures, which leads to more snowfall across these areas and a higher frequency of snowstorms. With all that said, La Nina is a huge reason why we think this winter will be vastly different from last winter, and has historically been a very accurate tool to be able to predict what our winters look like in the United States. With all things considered, December has already been a very interesting month when it comes to wintry weather, as we've dealt with a lot of
Yeah, it's been super duper warm. It is 67 degrees outside right now on December 17th.
Arctic blasts across areas like the Midwest, the Ohio Valley, and the Northeast, which this agrees with the Climate Prediction Center forecast for this month, indicating that we will be seeing below average temperatures in areas like the Mid-Atlantic and the Northeast. But on the other hand, we're going to be dealing with above average temperatures from the Great Plains back through the Rocky Mountains and up and down the west coast of the United States. And to add on to that accuracy, the precipitation forecast from the Climate Prediction Center has overall been fairly accurate for this month, indicating below average rainfall and snowfall across the southwest United States, but on the other hand, above average rainfall in areas like Texas and as well as Louisiana, and as well as back through the Great Lakes region, and as well as around Lake Erie and Lake Ontario, have all been very accurate so far, which indicates that we are probably looking at a pretty accurate forecast from the Climate Prediction Center for this winter. But with all that said, La Nina winters are never the same every single year. They are always vastly different when it comes to temperatures, total amounts of snowfall that have fallen, ice storm frequency, and as well as temperatures across the United States, which is why we resort to the Climate Prediction Center forecasts in terms of temperatures and as well as precipitation. Beginning with the temperature trends for the next 3 months from December until February, they are currently forecasting above average temperatures to be likely anywhere from the Four Corner states back into the southern plains and up and down the east coast of the United States. On the other hand, below average temperatures are in the forecast anywhere from the upper Midwest and the northern plains back into the Pacific Northwest. This is important because we are expecting a high frequency of Arctic blasts, especially in January and February across the northern plains, that will lead to very cold weather. And I do have bad news if you are a snow lover in the deep south, because in a typical La Nina weather pattern, we do deal with drier than normal conditions across the entire southern tier of the United States, which means areas from the Four Corner states back through Florida are expecting below average rain and snowfall. However, we have actually seen some pretty big snowstorms in La Nina winters. Most recently, we had a huge ice storm and freeze event that occurred in Texas back in February of 2022, which was indeed
I remember that. It was frozen as hell.
a moderate La Nina. This winter will not be much different. We are expecting a moderate La Nina. Now, that doesn't mean we are definitely going to see a big ice storm in Texas, but it does let you know that it is definitely a possibility, even if we are forecasting below average rain and snowfall. Now, in terms of the northern tier of the United States, back over in the Pacific Northwest, we are expecting several more atmospheric rivers both this month and as well as January, where we could see several inches of rainfall over the span of only 30 to 45 days. The Ohio Valley and as well as the Great Lakes region will continue to see big troughs off to the north and northeast, which means that we are going to see a ton of snowfall from lake effect snow events, and this will be especially common even into early January due to the temperatures in the Great Lakes being much warmer than they would usually be this time of the year. Now, with all of this taken into consideration, our forecast here at the Max Velocity channel for frequency of
Boom, posting links.
snowstorms is especially
Got some fresh ones over there in the Discord server.
high in the Midwest and as well as the Northeast for this winter. And you'll see on this map here, the Midwest and the Northeast are in red shaded areas, which would indicate a high frequency of snowstorms during this winter, anywhere from this month all the way through the end of February, with areas like New England and as well as New York and Pennsylvania having the best chance of seeing significant snowstorms. Same thing goes for the Midwest, including Western Michigan, back into Minnesota, Wisconsin, Northern Illinois, and Northeast Iowa. Now, on the other hand, we do have a bit more of a medium confidence confidence that stretches from areas like Nova Scotia back into the northern and central plains, and also tailing the northern parts of the Ohio Valley. On the other hand, further down to the south, there is a low confidence that we could see maybe a snowstorm or two sneak in to areas as far south as Texas and maybe clipping the northern Dixie Alley with a La Nina wind.
So far it's looking pretty good for the Midwest. As long as like nothing weird happens, I don't think we're getting a bunch of snow.
Though they are a lot less frequent to happen that far down to the south. And another big concern with any winter storm is the potential for ice, or even in some cases an ice storm. So this map will give you an idea of where we expect the best chance for an ice storm to take place this winter, with the main areas being highlighted anywhere from Oklahoma back into the Midwest, which is
so ice. We're getting ice.
almost always where we at least get one sort of ice storm during the month of either January or February. And then back over to the northeast, this is an area that typically does see some form of ice when it comes to a freezing rain event, and that usually also happens in the month of January and February. There's one area in particular that I want you to check out very closely, and that's back over near North Carolina and Virginia. And for reference, cold air damming occurs when a cold air mass is trapped by topography, often on the east side of a mountain range. This actually happens upwards of 3 to
Real quick, if you're tuning in, fresh links on the Discord, along with some stuff that's up for grabs right now. Shoot me a DM if you're interested, and get it to you before Christmas. Sub to the channel.
5 times a winter on the east coast of the United States, mostly just east of the Appalachian Mountains there in the North Carolina and Virginia range. With that said, we sometimes get some ice events out of this, so this will definitely be an area to keep a close eye on this winter. Now, we've talked a lot about the ice storm, winter storm, and temperature trends that we are expecting this winter, but another big trend that we have not talked about yet is the potential for severe weather in the United States. And I think this is going to be a big problem as we go into both January and February in the United States. You see, the temperature anomalies here as we go into January are expected to be above average for much of the southern tier of the United States, but they really get warm as we go into February, with the latest CFS model run showing well above average temperatures being a possibility in the month of February, especially across the southern plains and as well as the Dixie Alley. And the Dixie Alley is an area that definitely sees their fair share of severe weather events in the month of February. So hopefully this winter forecast helps prepare you for the winter ahead when it comes to the potential for big snowstorms.
You know, you told me a little bit. It might snow, which, I mean, I already knew that. And, you know, we're probably going to get some ice, which usually, you know, if it rains and it's freezing outside, you're going to get some ice. That's how it goes. You have basically replaced my local weather source. Yes, because I just don't think no one's predicting the weather. I just think, you know, going Nostradamus at this point. Very little snow when they used to have a bunch of snow. All right, let's move it on to why Mark Cuban's a con man.
Mark Cuban lied. How this face...
He lied.
This face became a billionaire. It's all a lie.
This was in my recommended. I've never seen a video by this dude before. Jeremy Orzko, 2.35 subs. So I mean, he's
Maybe
on the way
this
up.
guy started everything, and Mark
This
Cuban
one has
screwed him over.
153,000 views. So this video popped off for sure for him. I don't, and he's not even Cuban. All right, let's get to it.
Harder than anyone's been screwed in the history of tech, and I'll prove it. What I found is shocking.
All the streaming, everything YouTube does,
Yeah.
we started that.
You started that.
It was called AudioNet, and we started
Mark Cuban was the first streamer,
in 1995.
and Al Gore created the internet.
We started streaming? Don't be so modest, Mark Cuban. Who was the real tech genius who single-handedly invented streaming?
I did.
How much technical savvy was required? How much did you understand, could do yourself?
I did all the technology, and then we hired engineer after engineer after engineer to
Now it's Cap. It's Cap.
implement it. And so,
Wow.
yeah, from putting together a multicast network to software to just all these different.
Inventors invent. Mark did the technology, and it started with ROI.
ROI. ROI. You know what that stands for?
Return on investment.
Nope. Radio on Internet.
Radio on internet. ROI. That was a charming fictional moron named Russ Hanneman who invented radio on the internet. He'll give us insight into the real Mark Cuban. Here's the real Mark Cuban's story of how he invented ROI. I'm not saying the story's real, but Mark Cuban has told this story, repeated it, some version of it for decades.
Then one of my buddies from college, Todd Wagner, sat down with me, and this was in 1995. He was like, you know, there's this whole new thing called the internet. There's got to be a way we can use this to listen to Indiana basketball. We said,
Man, that would be so crazy. Just to, especially if you're born in like the 60s, to go from not having the internet to having it.
set up this
Wild.
website called AudioNet, and the next thing you know, video comes along, and we turned it into a company called broadcast.com. And so we started what turned out to be the very first streaming company.
No, you didn't. That was Mark's story until 2012 when
So the first, they were trying to do it to watch or to listen to Indiana basketball.
Chris Jabe did an extremely rare interview.
Will talk about how Mark Cuban came into the story, but I'm wondering are you ever resentful that people say that Mark Cuban is the founder and completely write you out of the story?
I guess this is the dude he ripped off. Looks like he's got a nice little house, though, you know? But Mark Cuban's got like what, $2 billion?
Sorry?
Yeah, of course, there's a little bit of that. It's hard not to because of the way it sort of ended up, in it being promoted in the media, and because of the way he positioned the story.
That was Cameron Chris Jabe. He started Cameron Audio Networks in 1989. He was the original founder of what would become AudioNet and then broadcast.com, but his name wasn't on all the press releases, news articles, videos, documentaries, incredible silicon.
Mark Cuban thinks the internet can change all that. It has already recast him from computer entrepreneur to broadcast pioneer since he founded AudioNet last year with his partner, Todd Wagner. Yeah.
Gun Valley shows. This smile got all the recognition. Watch.
Of course not. But I do it anyway. Because I want it.
You're putting your entire future in the hands of the man who put radio on the internet. I can only assume that he mentioned that to you.
It may have come up. Oh, this guy? That's the guy? Yeah, that's the guy.
Does he actually smile like that with his upper and lower teeth at the same time?
The guy is a joke.
How does he even do that?
He's a boorish, pompous, womanizing douchebag.
Chris's name wasn't even on the wiki.
Smile with your top and bottom at the same time. Jeez.
Wikipedia page as a founder until that 2012 interview, until after it. Chris started with broadcasting sports events inside stadiums with these like radio pager things, but says, what about outside of stadiums? He started working on maybe the first satellite radio company, but the internet gets fast in 1994. Real fast, a whole 28.8 kilobytes home modem fast. That's like 0.028 of a megabyte fast. Okay, that's stupid slow. Co-founder Todd Wagner, Mark's lawyer friend, introduces Chris to Mark in late 1994 and
within 10 minutes of me giving him this pitch that I'd given 100 times, Mark said, I'm in, I'll do it. And at that point, he gave me a check for $10,000 and said, and on the bottom of that check, it said 2% of the company. And at the time, I really didn't think anything of it, so I took the check.
Classic Mark. He's the only one on earth with this genius ability.
I guess the other thing is, like you see on Shark Tank, I can look at any business. I don't care.
Hey, I don't want to watch this, but I gotta let the dog in real quick. All right.
What it is. And in 10 seconds, I know all about the business. And so.
Right. He must be a billionaire from Shark Tank alone. No?
Are you up all time on Shark Tank investments?
Nah, not. Am I up financially?
Yeah.
Oh no, I've gotten beat.
Really?
A couple.
No. Well, as Russ Hanneman says, it's not always about the money.
You know, one of the things being in the 3 Comma Club has taught me, Richard, is it's not always about money. Sometimes it's about wisdom. Did I lose a B? Close to it. But I bet I gained 2B in wisdom.
So you lost it all?
One of them worked.
One out of 36?
Well, Mark Cuban got this one right. 2, actually. Mark Cuban had a successful computer integration business that he sold to CompuServe before.
Seems like every famous person that does anything on the computers has this picture. It's like everyone's always in the same, facing the same direction, same type of background. I don't know. Maybe I need some more chaos in my room to get
Or
things
this.
going.
Is not an
Is that a little pocket? Is that a computer? Is that like, looks like one of those games you get at the Christmas time in the mall that has like 40 games built into it. And it's a lamp that looks like a meth pipe. Then you got this little, tiny little TV with big old antenna.
Idiot, not a complete idiot.
CompuServe, never heard of that.
He really had a
either.
talent for hooking up computers, installing software, servers, and he knows how to sell BS. A lot of it. Come to think of it, Russ Hanneman isn't a complete moron either.
Start a subscription revenue model?
What? Revenue? No. No revenue. I'll call you back. What? Why would you go after revenue?
Because to make
Because we want the money.
money?
No. If you show revenue, people will ask how much, and it will never be enough. It's not about how much you earn. It's about what you're worth. And who's worth the most? Companies that lose money.
Probably a coincidence. Anyway, when
What?
Broadcast.com sold to Yahoo for about $5.7 billion, they were making negative $16 million on sales of $22 million. Yes, you do the math. Companies that are worth the most lose money. Chris needed more money to lose fast. This was the dot-com boom era. He asked for $1 million from Mark, but Mark only gave him that check for $10K. But remember, at the bottom, it said for 2% of the company. This became a giant problem. Mark wanted his investment non-dilutable. Why?
Things will come back, so we try to be protective in the contract so that you can't just immediately raise money 2 days later. You can't immediately dilute us in other ways, and just,
Now, non-dilutable is smart. Otherwise, an evil investor can just issue new shares of stock and dilute your shares and screw you out of your own company. It's how Mark Zuckerberg screwed over his co-founder, Eduardo Saverin.
Non-dilutable? What does that mean? Non-dilutable shares protect investors by ensuring their ownership percentage remains intact regardless of future funding rounds. This guide explores their significance in equity financing, the benefits they provide, and the potential drawbacks investors should consider. So, protects investors by ensuring their ownership percentage remains intact regardless of future funding rounds. So it just pretty much mean like their percentage just stays the same regardless of the price of the share, maybe?
All you need to do is pump.
Maybe he'll explain it a little more.
Out more shares for yourself and
we're learning here. We're learning.
Dilute the other founder's shares.
Mark!
Easy.
He's wired in. Sorry? He's wired in. Is he?
Yeah.
Let's rewind that just a minute.
2 days later, you can't immediately dilute us in other ways, and just,
Now, non-dilutable is smart. Otherwise, an evil investor can just issue new shares of stock and dilute your shares and screw you out of your own company. It's how Mark Zuckerberg screwed over his co-founder, Eduardo Saverin. All you need to do is pump out more shares for yourself and dilute the other founder's shares.
Mark!
Easy.
He's wired in. Sorry? He's wired in. Is he?
Yes.
You issued 24 million new shares of stock.
You were told that if new investors
How
came
much
along...
were your shares diluted? How much were his?
But Chris says, hold on, hey.
That guy was really angry.
Non-dilutable doesn't make sense. It's not fair to all the other investors.
Mark, it's not really fair if I make your shares non-dilutable because...
I don't know, man. I think this is a prop. These books are too neatly stacked and out of like perfectly corner twisted out. Every like fifth book. I don't know. He didn't read those books.
My family has been investing in this for 5 years and all their shares are dilutable. They argue about it for a few months and then Real Audio Player comes out and Mark...
Welcome to Real Audio Player Setup Program. This setup program will install Real Audio Player on your computer. After 60 days, you may purchase the Real Audio Player. So it tunes in.
Mark says, what?
Mark said, Chris, I really don't need you. You really don't have that much to add. I can pretty much do or get people to do what you're doing. So I was a little bummed, to say the least.
But then Mark says, hey, wait, hold on. Just kidding. I actually do need you. Chris had been calling 80 to 100 broadcasts.
It's like pretty much creating Frankenstein and like with another dude, and then the other dude being like, all right, man, your work here is done. I can get someone else to maintain this for me.
Casters per day from all over the country acquiring streaming rights. Plus, when guys named Mark steal companies, founders sue.
And I'll bet what you hated the most is that they identified me as a co-founder of Facebook, which I am. You better lawyer up, asshole, because I'm not coming back for 30%. I'm coming back for everything.
So Mark Cuban has a better idea.
What if I just bought your company?
It's not for sale.
Yes, it is.
Go to hell. Hey, I'll call you, Turtle.
Thank you, Mark, for that reenactment of investing in a company and then taking it over in a hostile manner. Very believable. The douchebaggery on point. So Todd, the co-founder lawyer, makes the offer. Chris would receive a paycheck for only $2,500 a month to train the new team a couple days a week to acquire more broadcasting licenses. Remember, he built relationships by attaining broadcasting rights over the last 5 years. And Chris would get to keep just a fraction of his own company. Chris, was that easy?
It was hard to take 10% of a company that I developed 100% from scratch.
Cuban became the driving force of AudioNet.
Mark overall really wanted to see it as his company.
See, Chris initially went to Mark for funds to build the software that would become Real Audio Player. Well, Chris claims that Real Audio Player launched, and once that happened, all Mark needed was to acquire content, transfer it to a computer, slap it on a website, and people could click to stream with Real Audio Player. That wasn't Mark's story. Who's lying? Mark? Did streaming technology such as Real Audio Player exist?
But was it technology even there?
No, it wasn't at that point, but I figured I could figure it out. And there were ways using WAV files and stuff that you could transmit audio. That had been done for a long time. But actually streaming it over the internet in a more efficient manner, that hadn't been done. So I set up a website, and we called it AudioNet, and then we went to a local radio station here in Dallas, KLIF.
Well, you heard him. The technology wasn't there because Mark claims he did the technology. But here's the truth. Real Networks was founded by an ex-Microsoft executive named Rob Glasser in February of 1994. In November of 1994, he filed the patent for streaming, for click-to-stream technology. 1994 streaming patent? Hold on, Mark. What do you think about streaming patents?
So we're violating their patent.
At some point, patents are important for innovation, right?
No.
No. I mean, what, you blow up the whole patent system?
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't need it?
Don't need it.
It wasn't necessary for broadcast.com?
No. I mean, look, if patent litigation,
Oh, Mark Cuban, streaming patents would have only been necessary for broadcast.com if you invented streaming. Joking. Mark once explained that even though he was always having to invent new ways of streaming audio and video, he didn't get patents because he thinks they inhibit technology. He's so humble. Real Networks eventually got their patent for actually inventing streaming technology, and on April 3rd of 1995, Real Audio Player was released, a revolutionary free streaming audio player that would be used by more than 85% of streamed content on the internet. Mark, what was the date on the first radio recording you used for streaming? Not the live streaming, but your prototype test.
Using these exact
There they are.
These exact tapes, right? August 10th, KLIF.
Exhibit A, August 10th, 1995. What a coincidence that the first free streaming audio player was released on April 3rd of 1995. And then...
This dude did his homework, that's for sure.
And 4 months later, Mark Cuban was also inventing streaming first. Remember, Mark, you told us streaming didn't exist. Streaming technology didn't exist yet. But here's the thing. Domain registration records show audionet.com wasn't even registered until August 13, 1995. Chris's original company became AudioNet in September of 1995, 5 months after Real Audio Player was unveiled. Here's the nail in the coffin. 2 nails. I found 2 Wall Street Journal articles from the late 90s that say Todd Wagner and Mark Cuban launched AudioNet when they, quote, learned about real networks, software for streaming audio signals, that was Real Audio Player, over the internet, and decided they would use it to help radio stations put their broadcasts online. But it wasn't until after April 1995 that the two decided to offer radio programs. Proof. The founder name you don't see here or anywhere else is Chris Jabe. After his 2012 interview, Bloomberg did a Mark Cuban documentary. And while Cuban won't acknowledge Chris as a founder, when pressed, co-founder lawyer Todd Wagner acknowledges Chris in the weirdest lawyerly way possible.
But co-founder Todd Wagner does acknowledge Jabe's participation.
He was there for a very brief period of time, and then he went on to the next thing. He owned a slug of equity and did just fine.
AudioNet did better than just fine.
Translation, we screwed him. Chris signed that 10% deal.
This poor dude, man. They just like booted him out. Then like they're trying to say like, he's like, oh no, he left, bro. He didn't even really do anything. He left.
Hardly a slug of equity, but he made a grave mistake. His shares were dilutable. And what do marks do to founders who have shares that are dilutable?
Dilutes them.
What was Mr. Zuckerberg's ownership share diluted down to?
It wasn't.
What was Peter Thiel's ownership share diluted down to?
It wasn't.
And what was your ownership share diluted down to?
0.03%.
Marks dilute hard. When Broadcast.com sold to Yahoo in 1999 for $5.7 billion, Chris's 10% shares were worth less than 1% of the company. Mark still made about $2 billion, but Chris would never make it to the 3 Comma Club.
I like this painting.
Is it sperm?
No, 3 commas. Know what has 3 commas in it, Richard?
A sentence with 2 appositive phrases in it?
No, $1 billion. Yeah, I'm in the 3 Comma Club. You know, you play your cards right, you could be in the 3 Comma Club too, but probably not. But you could be, but probably not.
Chris had less than 1%, but that's still around $50 million, and his whole family that invested in him, they all became millionaires too. Chris is grateful. I personally would have been the most bitter millionaire on earth, but Chris was grateful that Mark took his company to the 3 Comma Club.
Mark overall really wanted...
Yeah, I mean, you still get $50 million. You know, you still get some money, and you don't have to work with Mark Cuban anymore. So I don't know who really won here.
To see it as his company. He had made it, gone from really an idea to reality. He never really wanted to acknowledge me as a founder.
But he now gives Chris Jabe full credit for the idea. Listen.
So we would get together and he's like, look, he's got this other guy he knows who's doing this thing with pagers to try to get sports audio transmitted to pagers. And I'm like, no, that's crazy. And I'm like, look, there's got to be a way, this new internet, and I've been playing with the internet. I'm like, there's got to be a way that I can figure out how to, transmit audio and eventually video over the internet so that we can solve that problem.
Oh, wait, that's right. No. Mark gives him 0 credit. Chris was just some guy now with a crazy, stupid idea. And Chris may have started with radio pagers, but he was way, way, way past that point in 94 before he even met Mark Cuban. In Chris's 2012 interview, Andrew, the interviewer, provides proof to Chris that Chris was looking for an internet partner for ROI, radio on internet, on a public forum in June of 1994.
Or America Online. Our company has developed a really kick-ass premium service, and we're looking to partner an online services site. Remember when you can go to news groups and put messages like this up?
That is interesting. I do remember that kind of stuff going on. Basically, I was just reaching out to anybody that had a network to figure out a way to grow the vision that we had. This was probably before I even met Mark, I would guess. Wait, what was the date on that?
June 6, 94.
Yeah, that would have been about 3 or 4 months before we even met. So I was just...
Chris doesn't care. He just laughs and is like, oh, yeah, I guess that's proof I was looking to invent radio on internet before I even met Mark Cuban. That's funny because everyone thinks Mark Cuban is the genius who invented radio on internet. Mark Cuban needed the recognition. He needed 3 commas. And he remembers exactly how it happened.
I remember the second I became a billionaire. I was naked, sitting right there, just clicking and refreshing, watching my stock rise. And when it happened, I popped the rod so fast, I went blind for a full minute, nutted all over those cushions. I was the king.
Sorry, that was Russ Hanneman again. I don't even know if he's supposed to be Mark Cuban. Here's Mark Cuban's real story.
And I remember sitting in my house in the second bedroom where I had a PC set up, and it was getting close, right? Because it was going nuts. Hitting F5, the refresh key, right on old. And there it was. I'm sitting like basically naked on this chair, hitting this thing, going boom, 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 until it hit it, bounced around, did my little billionaire dance song.
That's insane.
It was insane, man.
Is that
It
when
takes
you're
that.
super rich? When you're a billionaire?
Yeah.
Of course, broadcast.com shut down just a few years after Yahoo bought it because it was wildly unprofitable and anyone could stream at that point. In fact, streaming was available before Mark Cuban started his company. Subscribe, the end. Mark Cuban lied. How
That was pretty good. Let's see what the comments have to say. Yeah, he's just one of those people, always seemed like a shady kind of guy. Mark Cuban is a grifter, posing as a businessman and a technologist. Mark Cuban is one of the clearest examples of an egomaniac and has always cared more about money than anything else. Perfect example of a man who judges his worth with numbers in his bank account. David Capo, 3376, baby. Should do a video on Kevin O'Leary. He said, sounds good. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and subscribe to this guy because obviously he's putting out some quality work. Jeremy Orsko, go check him out. Mr. Beast, Chaos 1. Yeah, so we got a couple videos so far, but this is the one that really popped off. Hell yeah. Go Jeremy. All right. Being obese is the new meta. Men are choosing fat women. Basic biology shows that we are naturally attracted to people who look healthy. That's it. That's why most men do not like fat girls, or female bodybuilders for that matter. As for what attracts women, if somebody could give me some tips here. Poor guy.
Statistics
All
quite
right,
often.
let's check
And I
this
think
out.
we can all agree on something pretty generic, which is that a pretty woman who has a decent physique is always going to get more money, more views, and more attraction in the general public eye compared to the alternative. It's clear to me that at least in any field that you see this happening in real time, current day even, with all the wokeism being in our environments and cultures, we still see that the prevailing thread is attractive women make more money in video games, in movies, etc. But let's just dig into this little communal activity done in this video that I'm going to be talking
I mean, it's been like that since the start of time.
about because it enraged me and I'm a absolute simp apparently.
Fit women are more attractive than fat women. Will the agreeers please step forward?
I would definitely agree. Fit women are more attractive than like plus size women, only because me having this body, it shows that I can commit to something, right? And it shows that I'm hardworking, so I feel like men looking at my body can see, oh, okay, she's dedicated. She put in the work, and that could be an attractive quality that men see in me.
So she is saying that her physique is a
Yeah, and I agree with that. I mean, consistency is something that a lot of people lack, and it can boil down to discipline. Could be ADHD, and they just can only do something for so many months at a time. You know, there's a lot of things that go into it. But yeah, just overall being fit and looking healthy I feel like get you in a lot more doors than not.
Representation of hard work, and that can project itself to a man who's interested in another person. And I think this is a very clear and obvious feature of being quite fit. The nice thing about being jacked or being fit is that it's not going to be bought. You can't simply just go to the store and buy it with enough money. You can't will your way to a good physique. You actually have to go through the motions of doing the things every single day for a very prolonged period of time. And oh, there's going to be some fucking guy who's like, steroids. Okay, cool. If you took all the steroids in the world, you could do this right now, and you just sat at home and did nothing, ate the same shit, did the same shit, and changed nothing about your life, all the performance enhancing drugs in the world wouldn't change your body. Now get ready for the woke cretin comment about the 1996 study from Boston et al., which was basically where they titrated male doses of testosterone all the way up to 600 milligrams of testosterone without them having done any form of activity, and they saw that some of those individuals had gained about 14 pounds of lean muscle mass. But please, brother, do something for me. Take 600 milligrams of testosterone, watch yourself grow woman tits, and then do nothing. You'll find that, oh my God, I didn't change at all. Those men didn't get leaner, and I think this is the big conflating feature here. They stayed just as fat, but they just put some lean muscle on their bodies, and these were chronically under-muscled people before the study. So seriously, you can't buy a physique. You have to work for it. You have to commit to habits that are daily, weekly, yearly habits. Every fucking day on that calendar needs to be X'd off to achieve a certain type of body. And this isn't to say that it's some insurmountable task to be healthy and fit or even jacked, because the tasks that you have to do aren't extreme. Anyone can do them. They're easy and reproducible. That's the funny thing about it. The tasks don't require some crazy amount of discipline or work ethic. It really is just easy tasks that you stack up continuously and you're conscious of as you move through your life over time. That is attractive. Self-consciousness, self-awareness, having the ability to self-limit. I don't want the mother of my child to be unable to stop eating and develop diabetes, which is very common within the United States, but
diabetes,
a complete absent thing in other countries because she couldn't stop eating garbage. Not only affecting her, but affecting the children who will now be predisposed to diabetes for the rest of their life because of what she had done.
Little bro's a little young for the galaxy gas, ain't he?
I think that all women are beautiful. I've had relationship with women that are fit, that are not fit, variety.
You sure about that? You sure about that?
And I can tell you that personality-wise,
and study shows you are lying.
the skinniest ones and the most beautiful ones have had a personality that I cannot work with. Me, personally, me.
Maybe this is actually because she's insecure of herself and the things that she does. And when she's near someone who is fit, it holds a mirror back in her own face and shows her her insignificancies and why she's not where she wants to be, but that's a hard pill to swallow. That, by the way, this is all things that she would have control over. The fit person being in her life wouldn't necessarily be showing her this mirror and saying, you have to do the work. No, it's just simple choices that she could make, but of course, the other alternative is that she could remain comfortable and happy and fat, but also...
Yeah, don't take the easy road. Take the hard road, always. Always take the hard road.
So die significantly younger.
Your physical looks will disappear.
Where have yours gone? They seem to be sticking around like margarine. Seriously, your body is something you will always wake up and see. You will be the closest person to your body for the rest of your life.
Yeah, and that's true, man. Like, if I wake up and I ain't liking the way I look, dude, I'm going to the gym. Like, I change it. And, like, I go through kind of stints where I'm in and out the gym. But, like, that morning I do wake up and I'm like, dang, I got to put on some weight. I'm like, yeah, let's get rid of that.
To let your body crumble and...
It's a lot of work, though. It really is. And time, I guess. But, I mean, I got, time to kill. I got kids, all that good stuff.
Say that it's fine, looks don't matter, is absolutely beyond me. Yes, your looks are finite. No one's arguing that point. Of course, you're not always going to be jacked in a fitness model and all of these things. But the habits that make that physique are forever. The values that embody looking a specific way are forever. And those will stick with you and transcend the dimension of time. If someone generally eats well, takes care of themselves, and works out at a younger age and continues to do that through their older their ages, what can you imagine to see? A much fitter older person, as well as someone who's actually going to have longevity to their lifespan, be able to take care of their kids and be able to take care of themselves and not depend on society to take care of them for themselves. Again, it means that someone in your life isn't going to have to cry because you passed away due to your own inability to stop putting food in your mouth. You chose not to take care of yourself, and therefore you face...
I mean, popcorn is low-calorie alternative, too. If you get the munchies a lot, Oral Redenbacher, what's it called? It's like the low-calorie popcorn. It's in the green box, but like one bag is only like 200 calories. And like, how many times do you eat a whole bag of popcorn and not feel full? But just a little hack.
The consequences that impacted other people's lives.
A fat fucking L here, quite literally.
My grandma, she used to be a very petite, tiny woman, grew up in the Philippines. My grandpa the same way. Now they're a little bigger, they're more comfortable. 50 years later, still in love.
Bro, where is the neck at?
My grandpa always makes jokes, like when I remember growing up, he was like, this is Burger King and this is McDonald's. I'm the king and I'm loving it. And I'm like, that's my grandpa. He showed me.
And now you're going to die at 30.
Like, you can appreciate a woman through all the changes.
I mean, sure, if you're also getting a piece with her, this makes sense. If we reverse the roles and he took care of himself and she didn't, I don't think he would be saying the same thing at all. Ultimately, I believe that her father is using her mother as a scapegoat for being a glutton. Because she does it, it's easy for him to stick with it as well.
I think people like to be like, oh, it's always going to be the fit woman is more attractive than the plus size woman. I just don't think that's true. Like, there's a lot of beautiful fit women. There's also a lot of not very beautiful ones.
Right.
You know what I mean? To assume that size will always equal more attractive, I just think is like silly. It's a
And I get that too. Like, just like if you work out a whole bunch and your genetics are poor, obviously your physique is going to look different than someone with good genetics. But I don't think just because you have an unattractive appearance doesn't mean you should still take time to be healthy. You know, it's not, you know, like, why would you just like, giving up? Because those types of decisions are what leads you to being obese in the first place. And then people can look at you and already kind of get a gauge of your personality and what you value versus someone that doesn't look like you.
case by case basis.
Because chances are, if you're fit and you're not even that attractive, like, I bet you're 10 times easier getting a boyfriend or girlfriend than if you weren't.
There are some...
But there is someone for everyone, right? Isn't that what they say?
Moon-faced baddies out there. This doesn't mean that they're less attractive than obese humans. For one, the moon-faced baddie can still take care of herself pretty damn good. Even if her face is beat up, she can still leverage her strengths and take care of herself. And for two, she can take care of herself and doesn't have to depend on other people taking care of her for her. Why in the fuck would anyone want a...
Damn, this is some ass, right? God damn.
A female in their lives who can't take care of herself. They can't handle their own health. They can't self-limit, be self-conscious of what they're eating, consuming.
See, paper plates. Couldn't be caught burning calories doing the dishes. That's why I only use paper plates.
And putting into their body, doing with their body, being self-conscious of their own slow deterioration. I don't want to be subjected to that kind of person. That is a...
Chat, what is this?
Very negative and honestly gross place to be. I mean, truly, it's disgusting. For three, the reason that sex sells isn't because a gal's face, let's be honest. It's 99.9% her body. And even if she is ugly, at least I can pick her up and, you know, be the man.
Well, you can be thin and not healthy.
Yeah,
Right, so I can pick her up and be the man. Yeah, let's see. I can... I'm comfortably, it looks like I'm only picking up like 3 of these broads here. The rest I'm grunting for sure.
Yeah, exactly. But the biggest issue I have with what you said, I disagree with you. I think as a fit girl as well.
The thing the Asian girl's thinking right now is, damn, she really said that she's fit. That's crazy.
I still disagree with you because there's beautiful...
I mean, she's not, and that's what it kind of boils down on genetics. Because, like, I wouldn't look at her and be like, damn, she's fat. You know what I mean? Because she's not.
Women who are in bigger bodies. And the biggest issue I have was what you said about men being attracted to you more just because you're fit. I think that that's basing your worth on a man. And I'm married, as a married woman saying that, I just don't understand what that has to do with the principle of just physical attractiveness. It has nothing to do with if someone else deems you as attractive. It's like, just solely based on the physical. So
Yeah, but if she wants her man to like that quality, then obviously the guy that finds her attractive is going to like the fact that she's fit. You know, it's not giving your, or whatever the hell she said.
100% disagree with you.
Feel sorry for her husband.
Girl was so ratioed in the comments. She was so obliterated in the comments.
Ratioed.
It's like there was at least 6 comments about her that got over 50,000 likes. So I'm not even.
Shoo, boy, they grilled her.
Even gonna comment on it because it's blatant insanity.
I was debating actually stepping forward because of just what society has taught me my whole life is like, thin is more beautiful, thin is more beautiful, thin is more beautiful. And I've really had to work on unlearning that, like, for so many years.
Why? Why would you unlearn that?
So many years. I was like, oh, the reason I'm not in a relationship is
Just like unlearning that the earth isn't round too, right? Oh, shit. Oopsie.
because I'm fat. Like, I need to lose weight and then I'll become in a relationship. Then someone will love me. And I thought that for so many years.
Or maybe because it's good for you. Is that the possibility? Do you ever think about the benefits it would do for your own health? See, he's thinking the same thing.
A bullshit. A bullshit. A bullshit.
I don't think there'll be enough years in your lifespan to learn that. There isn't really actually any unlearning here to be done. The reason that people say that it's unhealthy or that it's unattractive is because, quite clearly, it is the leading cause of death in America, or at least one of the comorbidities that is going to correlate to the cause of death in America. I mean, biologically speaking, if I have a selection of females, I am not going to pick the one that's most likely to die if she is going to be the mother to my child. Have you actually seen obese women and their rates of miscarriages? It's quite awful. And the reason that it's perpetuated in society isn't because it's bad or it's vulgar and people like saying perpetuated.
Just because I'm fat, that doesn't invalidate the things that I say.
In society isn't because it's bad or it's
Oh,
vulgar and
Jesus.
people like saying vulgar things.
What
It's
is
because it is extremely unhealthy. I mean, I don't even know where people are pulling this out of to try to justify this. It's no different than saying, well, I'm going to date this alcoholic. I accept the fact that they're going to be abusive, highly psychologically unstable, waste money, and likely die very soon, but I can't judge them for their behaviors.
Yeah, and that is a perfect comparison.
What?
What the fuck? No!
I mean, I wouldn't look at a girl who's extremely attractive by physical standards, but has a bottle of booze tied to her hand at all hours of the day and call that attractive. That to me is disgusting behavior, and I would never associate with it. I think anyone would look at that and be completely...
Yeah, and I think we all know those people, especially those of us in our mid to late 20s now. Yeah.
Clear that that is objectively unhealthy, that is objectively disgusting behavior, and I don't want to be surrounded by it. Being obese and even being overweight is self-destructive. Any doctor...
Kind of concoction we got going here. Is that all right, we got the garlic bread. Is that a chicken parm with French fries and ranch dressing? Oh boy.
would tell
Load
you
it
this.
up.
Any health
geez.
coach who
Let's see, ultimate sidekick. Is that Burger King?
has a very professional
She looks happy, doesn't she? She looks like she's having a great time.
background, including myself, would tell you that.
Got the freaking fried balls in the left hand, pounding chicken Sammys in the right. Burger King.
And if not...
Dude, when was the last time I went to Burger King? So funny enough, when I lived in the house before I lived in this one, there was one on the corner. And I used to get the breakfast croissants, ham, egg, and cheese breakfast croissants from Burger King. Oh, the epiphany of fast food breakfast. But since I've moved to this new house, dude, I couldn't even tell you where Burger King is. But what has replaced that Burger King location at my new house is a McDonald's. And, you know, once in a freaking blue moon, I'll get me some McDonald's, but I try to never, ever go there.
I'll tell you, statistically speaking, you are actually more likely to die of obesity, if you are, of course, are already obese, than any other natural or non-natural cause of death. If you were to get your die of obesity, a health coach who has a very professional background, including myself, would tell you this. And if not, I'll tell you, statistically speaking, you are actually more likely to die of obesity, if you are, of course, are already obese, than any other natural or non-natural cause of death.
Just die being fat. That's why you don't want to be fat.
If you were to get your BMI down to a healthy human standard, your chance of death would be reduced by almost 85%.
Wow.
The fuck?
What is a healthy BMI? Which BMI scale is best? 28 to 29. Here, let's do this real quick and just find out. Jesus, I'm getting attacked. Where is this? What is going on here? Intermittent fasting. I don't like this one. That's scales for body mass index. Man, I miss like 2012, 2013 Google search engine, dude, or like Yahoo. Like now it's all bad, dude. BMI is one potential health indicator. $25.1. It says I'm overweight. Oh man. Obviously it doesn't have all this muscle mass on there though. Based on information. So a healthy weight BMI is between 18.5 and 24.9. Underweight would be 18.5. And of course, this is going to vary depending on the amount of muscle you have and what else is going to be factored in to that. But just in general.
But how can you argue
Now
that
we
that's
know.
completely attractive versus the alternative? I would much rather have a mate who's 85% less likely to die.
I have dated some fantastically gorgeous men, but when I feel most comfortable and myself and I can feel just kind of let it all out is a guy that's has some cushion. Gym people for gym people. And, and that kind of seems like unattainable, not my vibe.
This is just self-exposing here.
That's fine. Like, know your type. If you're not one that likes to go to the gym, dude, there's other ways to work out. Like, I like going on walks, man. I go on walks all the time, usually with just my dog. It's like, I don't know, dude.
Saying is that
it's like you don't have to feel like an outcast because you have an opinion. Like, I feel like they're making it seem like if just because they have an opinion, it's like this odd, weird thing. It's like,
she could date a fit man if she wanted to, which means that she might actually find them a better option, but because she feels insecure about her weight and lifestyle, she doesn't. So suddenly it makes more plus size people more attractive because they embrace your bad behaviors and lifestyle. It's just such a flawed way of viewing all of this. It's disgusting. People will go to such lengths to try to justify their own tendencies, their own habits, and their own addictions. Now, I'm not saying fitness is a perfect realm to point out and say that there's no issues there, because you have steroid addictions, which I've talked about so many times on this channel. You have other issues like food eating disorders, which
that's Dallas Carver or McCarver, I think. He died from just being too big.
Talked about.
Because if you're just kind of how that BMI scale said that I was overweight, I do have more muscle than the average person, but he had so much muscle that at like 23, 24 years old, he was having to sleep with a breathing mask because he had so much mass on his frame. It was literally inhibiting his body from performing normally. And he ended up dying before 30 because of that. It's just crazy. But
so many times on this channel. And you have other issues like working out, like
Jesus, that's a lot of weight. 315, 405, 495. That's like
exercise
600
bulimia, essentially,
pounds.
which is, essentially the same thing as bulimia, but exercise excessively versus, whatever. Not a good thing, right? Arguably a very fucking bad thing to be involved with. So I'm not trying to argue the point that fitness is this clean silver lining to life. It's not. There's so many things.
Yeah, especially in the modern era, like the social media fitness world and all that stuff. If you ever want some good info on weightlifting and dieting, you can shoot me a DM and I'll just give, because I've been doing it since I was 12, 13, 14 years old. So I've been through the freaking ringer on what works, what doesn't, what to do, when to do it. And, it's like a lot of the stuff for newcomers can be really, really confusing to the point where it just drives them away. But I always just try to like give people that really good base layer, ground level, and then let them kind of build and figure it out from there. Main thing is that you don't want to get hurt. You're going there to benefit yourself. The last thing you want to do is get hurt.
Things wrong. But if we're to be objective and look at this with a statistical view, clearly the reason that people are saying overweight or obese people
Damn, get the Doritos and the pizza
are unattractive is because at a biological
That's
level,
funny, right? As soon
there's
as I
something
said pizza,
clearly
I got a
wrong with that.
notification
It is
from
not
Domino's.
Very clearly, okay? It is not normal to carry that much fat
girls
mass
are
as a
gorgeous.
human being. We were never supposed to, ever. After thousands of
Just a reminder that I am very fat and I'm very sexy. All of these rooms have like something in common here. I bet their algorithm looks the same. Daily reminder that fat people can be and are sexy.
years of evolution, it'd be kind of weird if suddenly
So here's me doing it again. Fat people are
we
so
just now
hot.
preferred overweight people. Furthermore, if I'm to be invested in
what the
to my future as a human being, which means wealth, stability, a significant other that can handle both wealth and stability, and children, I can really, super easily identify who is going to be good for that. In a sense of, well, if they have a lean body mass index, if they take care of themselves, they're able to probably handle wealth generally better and certainly be able to foster children in a sense of actually like harboring the child in your stomach and then birthing it and then taking care of it, much better than the alternative. And just to
it's a lot to ask nowadays. A lot to ask for some people to do that.
To fall back on that a little bit, the miscarriage rate, and this is posted by the WHO, the World Health Organization, the average miscarriage rate is about 10% in America, okay? If we're looking at the obese population in America, it's 45%. So nearly half of all pregnancies in obese individuals fail. Again, I
wonder why that is. Why do obese women have miscarriages more often? Let's just get to the bottom of it. A woman's weight might affect her odds. Let's see. Male and female obesity have both been linked to decreased rates of pregnancy and live birth and natural and assisted cycles. Studies show that high BMI has harmful effects on gametes, embryos, and endometrial receptivity, which eventually leads to decreased IVF, ICSI pregnancy rates. Once pregnant, though, obese women are at a higher risk of adverse maternal and fetal complications that could end in miscarriage. According to statistics, the leading cause of first trimester miscarriages is embryo aneuploidy, and therefore it was assumed that obesity could potentially be the cause of chromosomal abnormal embryos. This is like a whole. Where's the conclusion at? In this study, the chance of miscarriage among obese women with a body mass index above 30 was significantly higher, with increased rates of miscarriages. Okay, but that's just like a study, like why does it happen? Most women who are overweight and pregnant go on to have straightforward pregnancies and a healthy baby. However, we do know that being obese increases the risk of miscarriages. Find out more. I would love just to find out more. There's no evidence to suggest that losing weight during pregnancy will lower your risk of a miscarriage. Going on a strict diet may mean that you get fewer essential vitamins and minerals that your baby needs to grow big and strong. So it's like once you're pregnant and you're obese, it's not the time to lose weight. 1 in 5 have a chance of having a miscarriage during the first 12 weeks if your BMI is 30 or higher. Wow. nothing's really telling me why, though, you know? Let's fix this, maybe. I assume it has to do with just like hormones and nutrients. Reoccurring pregnancy loss is a complex disease, and although often attributed to numerous medical factors and lifestyle influence, the cause is deemed unexplained in around 50% of the cases. Smoking, consumption of alcohol. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just gonna have to get back. If you're watching this, you know, let me know. The association with euploid miscarriage. Obese women have an increased frequency of euploid miscarriage when compared to non-obese. What is this one? Chromosomal abnormalities. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't.
I'm the father, and I want a family, and I want a family.
Pretty much, yeah. So if your BMI is higher than 30 and you get pregnant, you have substantially higher risk of having a miscarriage, which is not good. Don't want that. But if you're pregnant and obese, you don't want to lose weight while pregnant because then you're losing nutrients that it's going to feed the baby.
Prosper, that's not an environment I'm going to try to associate with. And you could argue that, sure, this is down to personal choice, but riddle me this. If you have someone who really radically changed their life and they got super, super healthy and they changed their habits, and let's just say they stayed with the same individual who hadn't done those things and was still obese, I would argue that the preference of the person who lost weight, became non-obese and actually healthy, would no longer find that other individual attractive. And the only reason I say this is because, one, logic, but
I mean, yeah, on top of it being logical, I have a personal story of this. I think it was maybe third, fourth grade football. Kid on my team, his mom got married to some dude, and she was taller, but she was a little thicker, but she was still pretty good looking. And then he was kind of like shorter guy, kind of like Napoleon syndrome, but you know, still a pretty chill bro. Well, they decide they're gonna get married. Well, leading up to the marriage, homegirl lost like 40 pounds and like I mean, she wasn't Pamela Anderson, but like she was definitely a lot hotter than she used to be. And I think maybe she kind of knew that. And I can't remember if they got married or not, but I know that they either called off the marriage or like once they were married, they weren't married very long. So that does happen a lot. So like if you guys are both overweight and one of your partner wants to lose weight, as that other partner, you should probably lose weight too.
two, I've coached many people into situations where they've radically changed their life, their body weight, and their physiques, and suddenly their significant other no longer wants to be with them, or they don't want to be with their significant other. It's almost a 1-for-1 ratio. Like it almost happens every single time. And the reason that...
Well, it's like a bias too, because like if it's like your significant other and used to spending pretty much every second together, and then all of a sudden one start to hobby and now they're gone for an hour and a half, 2 hours, you know, that can, it just, you know, lead to all
they were
types of
together in
stuff.
the first place was because both of them with bad habits coming together.
I know that had to hurt. Freaking hand tattoos, finger tattoos, not even hand tattoos. Man, ouchie.
Allows their bad habits to be normal.
She got neck tats too, dude. This one's pretty sick. The ghost-eyed chick, I like that one.
And that, my friends, is the world that we live in today. So yeah, I don't think being obese is attractive, but do you? Maybe you do. Maybe you like them thick girls. Very, very normal, maybe.
Thick, 2 C's, 2 C's. All right, let's peep some comments and we're going to wrap this bad boy up. It's been a great time. Hopefully we learned some stuff. Always a good time. My recommended on YouTube's usually don't let me down, and it's always fun sharing them with all of you guys. I blame the Kardashians. See, but the Kardashians, I don't think like made being thick like in, you know, they didn't make being obese in. They made being like fat assed big, but like as far as like being unhealthy, all of them have been healthy this whole time. I don't know, man. I still wouldn't, unless Haley Williams went fat and I'd make an exception. That's the red haired girl from Paramore. Do you have any tattoos? Fat women are way better in bed and way better partners. I find fit women attractive, but looks are not a factor after 6 months or so after you get to know the person behind the looks. Yet to find a fit woman who is good in bed and has a nurturing spirit. Yeah, and that's, I don't know, like if you're going to spend a lot of time on your image and the way that you look specifically, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily call that narcissistic or egomaniacal or egotistic, but to a certain extent, it kind of is. But there's nothing wrong with putting yourself first and making sure you're at your best before, you know, going to work, going to a restaurant, going to meet a girl, going to meet anybody. You know what I mean? My wife is fit and we have 2 kids. Our son is 17, daughter's 15. My wife was always fit. I would never go for 200, 221s. My wife was never above 140. I am 175, 180, and I am 5'9". Short king, dude. Fill it out. I like fat girls as long as none of my friends or family find out. That's getting a like. My parents fat would call me anorexic at 5'10", 70 kilos. What is 70 kilos? That's 154 pounds at 5'10". That is pretty thin. Unless that's a chick. Well, even then, I'd probably be a pretty hot chick. 5'10", what, 70 kilos? These are pretty good, though. The shame woke psyop 1 is what happened. Yeah. And now all these advertisers are completely doing the 180 and have totally gone away from that, because what happened when they did that was all of their sales plummeted and all of their customers decided to go for companies that weren't on the psyop level, getting, you know, freaking turned into the small majority pusher. I call cute, thick girls bumblebees because you'd see them everywhere as a kid, but now they're an utter rarity to be cherished and worshipped. Yep, there's really no in between. I said that when I was working too at my last place, or even at work. I mean, but there's really not a lot of in between. It's like you're either pretty big or you're fit. You know, you don't really see a lot of that kind of mid chub, little bit of love. But yeah, this has been great. It was a great time. Had some new viewers in here, I think. If you're watching these, make sure you get in the chat, dude. I got it popped up over here on my other screen. I'm going to chat around. I posted this in the Discord earlier at 3:15. It's now 4:45. But shoot me a DM if you guys need some stuff. I got all this stuff on hand, and I can get it to you before Christmas. So yeah, make sure you're in the Discord. Even while I was streaming here, as long as I got my little phone next to me, like this dude right here, it's like, dude, where are the 350s at? So while I was doing this, boom, posted the link to the 350s. They're over there making it nice and easy for you. But yeah, I appreciate you guys tuning in. These are kind of fun. Like I said, YouTube, I don't think they like me very much. So, and that could be, I probably should have changed names after the first 2 channels got clapped, but it's just hard once you do establish like your fan base and they know you by something, and then trying to rebrand is always a tough thing. You know, I guess 2 Chainz did it. Maybe I could do it too. But yeah, I'm going to end it on that note. Thanks for tuning in. Join the Discord, sub the channel, and I'll see you guys